3x3 box on 3-inch diameter pipe. So how would I order something like this? Well, I could do two things. I could either draw a picture like that and put in dimensions. So this would be 3x3 and this would be 3 inches round. Usually you'd want to give something like a length here. So let's say this is 6 inches. Gives an extra 1.5 inches on each side if it's on center. And then here you usually want something like a 3-inch gap as well. So that's one way to order it. If you didn't really care so much about the measurements, you just needed a saddle to sit on top of the pipe, you could just order the saddle. You would say 3x3 saddle on 3-inch diameter. Let's draw our horizontal and vertical development lines. So there's my horizontal line. I'm going to draw a vertical line here. Now remember, we have essentially a round pipe and our square duct going on top of it, making a saddle. So what I want to do is I want to draw that round pipe there, and I'll draw the square duct on top. What I need to do is I need to measure to find the radius. Now radius is half the diameter, and our diameter is 3 inches, so we want 1.5 inch radius on both sides here. And while I'm at it, I may as well mark the far end, which is 3 inches. And then for our center lines, it's a long dash followed by a short dash, so we can do that here. Same thing with my vertical lines. And I can go a little bit longer because I'm not really sure where that's going to end. At this point, I can swing my radius. So first things first, I need to adjust my dividers. And what I like to do is I like to put most of the pressure on the pointed tip and just drag the drawing edge around, just like that. All right, what about this square duct here? Remember, we were going to order the square duct to be 3 inches higher than this circle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little mark over here, and from this point it should be 6 inches, from this point 3, and that's just a good way for me to double check my work. So yeah, there's 6 inches here. So let's draw this line right across, because I'm going to stretch out my rectangular ductwork this way. I need to have a starting line for my rectangular ductwork. So I'm going to start by drawing a line, doesn't matter where, we'll say right here. There we go. I can draw it a little further. It's okay to draw it a little further. And then I'm going to do the same thing I did with this rectangular duct. 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches all the way across, and that equals a total of 12 inches. 3, 6, 9, and 12. Same thing, I can just bring those lines straight down. Here we go. Okay. Now usually I wouldn't start with my dark lines. I would end with them so that I know where I'm cutting. But just to make this more visible, I am going to draw these darker lines just so you can see the outside of our fitting here. I'll end it there. It'll have to come down further later. So there we can see our rectangular ductwork. What are we going to do with this bottom part? Because it has to fit onto this circle. So I'm just going to follow these points across. So I know that the bottom of where this ductwork is going to touch is where these lines intersect. So that's a great starting point. So I could just draw a line all the way across. And this is a great example of why we want to bring our lines a little bit further than we think we're going to need. I know that the edge going along the circle, so this edge here should be parallel to that circle. So why don't I start with that? One edge here. And then we're going to skip one because we have to follow the shape. And there's the next one there. I'm going to take that exact thing and copy it over. So I just need to find my center point. And then I need to find the middle. Well, luckily these dividers are already set up, so I can just swing from one side because it's the same distance either way. That just saves me some measuring. And same thing from the other side. And there's your pattern. I'll darken the edges to make it a little more visible. And of course, we're going to need a breaking diagram so we know how to break it up. It's going to be the same thing as that rectangular duct, just a wrap around. I always leave an open end here and a straight line. Put an X for the inside and we're done. All right, Perfect. Now let's break up our pattern. It's the same as the rectangular duct before. We're just going to break this up. 90-degree bends. There is our duct. So far we've laid out the top rectangular duct that goes on top of the circular pipe. So now let's lay out the circular pipe. And what we're going to do is we're just going to draw the other side. So we've basically rotated it 90 degrees. We're going to unroll the pipe and build the hole pattern that's going to intersect this rectangular duct here. Let's draw it like this. So I'm going to start with a horizontal line and my vertical line. The pipe is 3 inches in diameter and it's 6 inches high. And while I'm here, I'm also going to mark the center and the sides of the square duct. I'm also going to mark the outside of my square duct. Right, so this part, I just put this up. I'll draw this one here as well. This is why you always extend your lines a little further than you think you need them. Here's the side of my rectangular duct. There, so now we have our general shape. I'll just highlight it for you so it's easier to see. So just a little recap. This is our pipe here. We have to figure out this hole pattern. First thing I'm going to do is just draw the stretch out. And so in our last video, we realized the pipe was 9 7/16 inches long. That. We already have the end of the pipe up here, so let's just bring that across. Done. There's our pipe. If I were to draw the opening there, as I unroll it, there's the end right there. Now let's figure out our hole diagram. I know that the hole is going to be in this area here because the rectangular duct only takes up that much space. So let's figure out where this square duct is going to intersect on the pipe. In order to do that, I need to break up this pipe. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to draw this. I'll draw this up here, bring those lines down. It'll give me some reference points to use. And so there's the half pattern of my pipe. Let's put that down. There we go. This is the outside of the pipe. So if I'm looking at this part right here, and I lean it up, that's going to connect there. Okay. Now we're going to break this up and give ourselves some points. So I'm just going to use that same radius and give myself 2 more points to work with. All right, here's my next one. Next one. I can bring this down. This is going to come right down to the center. All right, it's 3 by 3, so it's going to have the same diameter. By following this right across. Same thing here. Now I don't like to have this hole diagram. I don't like to have that on a seam, so I'm going to draw it right in the center. And I have to find the center of this. There's 2 ways I could do it. Half of 9 7/16, or I could divide it. There's 2 ways I could divide it. I could use long dividers, or I could just go corner to corner here, something like that. There's my center mark there. Remember how to draw a center line? It's a long dash and a short dash. Now I have to figure out how far each way I'm going to be stepping off. There's 2 ways to do this. It's either going to be half the diameter of the circle, because it's coming down to the halfway mark. Because that's a square on a pipe. So it's going to be a flat edge along the bottom here. So the stretch out here is going to be 2 half radiuses, which is half the diameter. Now I can step it off using these points here, which these distances are all the same. So I can go each way, so that's 3 marks. 1, 2, 3. Go the other way. 1, 2, 3. All right, so if we remember, another way we can check this, the full diameter here, the full stretch out of the circumference is 9 7/16. Half of 9 is 4.5. So that's right there. Half of 7/16 is 7/32, or 3.5/16. So right there. Let's see if that's the same distance, and it is. Now I'm going to bring up these lines and complete my box. See, and that is my hole pattern here. Let's make all the borders. Start with the horizontal lines first. And then we can do the vertical lines last. If I want to put a breaking diagram on here, I usually put them in the center, but let's put it off to the side. So we've got our circle here and the line, and I can put an X on either side of the circle, it doesn't matter.